Hello class, this is Hannah Hurt. This is a screencast covering how to do LIFO using Excel. And during class, we covered how to do FIFO through our PowerPoint slides. So FIFO was an inventory costing method standing for first in, first out, and LIFO is an inventory costing method standing for last in, first out. So through this Excel example, we're going to learn how to calculate goods available for sale, cost of goods sold, and ending inventory using the LIFO inventory method. So first thing that we're going to need is to calculate goods available for sale. And just like FIFO, goods available for sale is calculated the same way. It's simply the beginning inventory plus the purchases. So over here, I'm going to have a column calculating my values for the beginning inventory and my purchases, which is simply the number of units times the unit cost. I'm dragging this formula down so that it will automatically calculate it for all my purchases. And then I'm going to do a sum here down at the bottom to add all of these values up. And then I'm just going to identify down here that this is the total goods available for sale. So just some formatting to help identify what we've just calculated. Right. The second step is to calculate the cost of goods sold, and this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. So for first in, first out, you were taking the beginning inventory and then the subsequent purchases and counting those as first being sold. Well, with last in, first out, you're going to look at each cell and look at what was the last purchase made before that cell, and that's what you're going to use to cost your ending inventory. And so last in, first out is a little trickier for students, which is another reason I'm doing a screencast on this. So over here to the side, we are going to calculate the cost of goods sold. And so the first thing I've noticed students have problems with is they get too confused by the whole set of transactions for the period. We're doing a perpetual, so each time that there's a sale of inventory, both the inventory and the cost of goods accounts are getting updated versus periodic, where they're just getting updated at the end of the period. So we're really looking at this on a transactional basis. And so I just highlighted all the other transactions we're not concerned with right now in white so that we're really only focused on this first cell. So the first thing we're going to do is calculate what is our cost of goods sold for this cell number 1. So on August 5th, we sold 600 units. We're going to look at the last purchase, which was made before the sale, which was on August 3rd, and we sold 400 units. So we're going to take all of those 400 units and value 400 of the 600 units sold at this $5. So 400 units at, and we're going to bring this over from here at $5. However, we didn't just sell 400 units, we sold 600 units, so we need to get 200 units from our last inventory on hand before that purchase. So I'm highlighting all of this purchase line in red because we have no remaining units left. So we can't consider that as having any units, and we have to move up to the next one of beginning inventory. So we need to cost 200 of units at this cell at the beginning inventory, which happens to be the same amount as what our first purchase for August was of the $5. Now over to the side here, I'm going to keep up with how many units we have remaining for each purchase or for our beginning inventory. If you don't do this, it can get very confusing as to what you still have on hand when you're having to kind of backtrack and see what you can now cost your sales as. You really have to keep up with how many units you have remaining. So we have 200 units remaining from our beginning inventory and no units remaining from our first purchase. All right, so now we're moving on to our sale number 2. So on August 7th, we're told that we sold 100 units. And so we're going to go to our last purchase. Well, that was purchase number 1, but we have no units remaining. So then we go up to our last inventory on hand before that, which is beginning inventory. So we're costing all of those 100 units at the beginning inventory unit cost amount. So it's going to be 100 units at $5, and I'm making sure that's pulling from this amount. And so now we don't have 200 units remaining in our beginning inventory, we just have 100 units. So sale number 2 is completed, and so now we're going to move to sale number 3, which occurred on August 17th. However, we had a purchase on August 11th. So sale number 3, we're told that on August 17th, we sold 700 units. So now we have to figure out, how do we cost these 700 units? Since it's last in, first out, we're going to look at our last purchase made. Our last purchase made was for 1,000 units, and this happened subsequent to the prior sale, so we still have all of these units remaining on hand, and so we're going to be able to cost all of our 700 units sold at this purchase number 2 unit cost of $6. So over here, I'm marking sale number 3, 700 units at $6 per unit. And now I'm noting that we don't have 1,000 of these units on hand anymore. We just have 300 units left. And now this sale number 3 is complete. We're moving to sale number 4, noting that there was a purchase between sale number 3 and sale number 4. So sale number 4, on August 21st, we sold 600 units, but there was a purchase on August 19th, so in between sale number 3 and sale number 4, so we're going to have all those units remaining on hand. That purchase was for 1,000 units, and we only sold 600 units, so we're going to be able to cost all of our 600 units at the purchase number 3 unit cost of $7.50. So I'm making note of that over here to the side where we're doing our cost of goods sold calculation. So we have 600 units at $750 or $7.50 per unit, and now we no longer have 100 units on hand because we used 600 of them. Okay, so now we're going to go to our final sale, which is on August 28th. There were no purchases between August 21st and August 28th. So we're going to have to look back to our last purchase, which was on August 19th. Purchase number 3, we have 400 units remaining. Well, our August 28th, our last sale of the month, was for 600 units, and we only have 400 units remaining from purchase 3. So we're going to take all 400 of those units and cost 400 of the 600 units we sold on August 28th at that amount. So that's 400 units at $7.50. And now we no longer have 400 units. We've used all of that. So I'm just going to mark all of that as red and a 0 over here. Okay, so now we've priced 400 of our units at the $7.50 amount, but we're still short 200 units from what we sold on August 28th. And so now we go to our next purchase that we still have units on hand, and that was 300 units remaining from purchase number 2. So we're going to take 200 units of those 300 units to finish out our August 28th sale. And so those unit costs were $6 per unit. And now we've used 200 of this. And so that's going to leave us with 100 units remaining. And so now we've gathered all of our information we need to calculate our cost of goods sold. And now we just simply need to multiply these unit numbers, number of units, times unit cost. And this is why I kept the number of units separate from this text over here so that we can multiply 400 times 5 in the Excel formulas. So I simply just said 400 units, J4 times L4, which is our unit cost. And I'm going to drag that formula down so it will copy into all the cells, and then I'm going to do a sum to get the total. Okay, so that is going to be our total cost of goods sold. And getting the cost of goods sold is really the hard part of this problem. And so now we have one more part left. That's step 3, which is pretty easy. Just like in FIFO, ending inventory is your goods available for sale minus your cost of goods sold. And we're going to have goods available for sale. Oops, sorry. And cost of goods, I'm going to copy that from here. Cost of goods sold. So our goods available for sale, I'm referencing back to where we calculated this. And for our cost of goods sold, we're subtracting that from our goods available for sale. So I'm going to say minus and referencing where we calculated this. And then I'm going to sum these two numbers to get our final ending inventory. So that is going to be our ending inventory amount. And if you go back in your slides and look, you'll see that the ending inventory and the cost of goods sold calculated under LIFO is different than calculated under FIFO. And please let me know if you have any questions by email. Thank you.